Halloween. So happy Halloween. I figure if you're coming to a podcast where I read tarot that you're probably into Halloween too. So I don't think I have to worry about anyone not celebrating. My tea this morning is just an English breakfast again with a little bit of creatine that I threw in there so that I can build my muscles. And this morning I was a little late today, so there's no makeup. Anything that you see is courtesy of the ring light. Okay. And Mother Nature. Good morning. Good morning. I hope that you all have your candy ready for tonight. And today I think we're going to do the Over the Garden Wall tarot again today, because tonight we will be watching Over the Garden Wall while we hand out candy. And it is a wonderful and fun tradition that we have at our house. Next, some what is housekeeping? Some housekeeping items for the next little bit. I definitely think I need a new microphone. So I will probably be getting one of those I'm hoping the near future. Yesterday I wanted to rewatch my podcast from yesterday, and I watched it on my computer at work, and then I couldn't really hear myself very well. So if you have crappy speakers, this microphone doesn't work well with crappy speakers. It works fine with good speakers, but we want it to work well for all. All right. Halloween. I thought we could talk about something before we dig right into the tarot today. And I think I want to talk about, let's talk about Over the Garden Wall and other things that inspire my creativity. And I would so what inspires you creatively? Do you think of yourself as a creative person? And what if you had a dream that nobody knew about, or that a few people know about but you're too afraid to pursue, what would it be? I sometimes have daydreams of, well, I know my husband has daydreams of this particular animator turning one of his books into a movie, and that is the book Icefall. And he would love for Tom Moore to do that. And I was thinking, on this podcast, I was wondering how many people are going to be attracted to it who are screenwriters who are writers. And I was thinking it might be fun at some point to do a little contest to, I want to be better at writing screenplays, and I want to be better at adapting books for screenplays. And wouldn't it be fun if we had almost a little, not like a competition, but almost, where everybody takes a look at the same book and we all write the same screenplay around it? I don't know. If that sounds fun to you, let me know. I talk quietly in the morning because my family is around and I don't want to be talking too loudly. I don't know. I don't want them to hear what I'm saying. This is private. It's just between you and me. All right. I think I keep looking over at my books. What? Oh, I'll go grab Icefall. Be back in 2 seconds. So this is Icefall. This is Matt's book that came out in 2011, I think. Let me see. I believe it's dedicated to his first wife, maybe. Oh, wait, hang on. Is it? Yep. It's dedicated to his first wife. Okay, yeah, 2011. 2011, on 11/11/11 was the first time I ever finished writing a full manuscript, which is not published because it was never very good to begin with. But 11/11. I mean, or 2011 was a cool year. And anyway, so Icefall was Matt's book that won the Edgar Award, which is an award for mystery. And he just has always had a daydream that Tom Moore, the animator, would turn this into a movie. And I think he's right. So I'm going to be that's something that I toy with. I have a few different screenplays going. I do tend to do better if I have several projects at once. And then I just, if I give myself, all right, this is my writing time from this time to this time, 4 hours should do it. 4 hours is anybody who is able to write longer than 4 hours is an exceptional is exceptional. Usually, if it's more than 4 hours, it's because you're under a deadline. I do know somebody who she's like a machine and she writes like crazy and can write all day. I don't know if she's still doing that, but that's Lindsay Eager. She's another children's writer out in the world. And anyway, so 4 hours should do it. If I give myself a 4 hour window for writing, then that means I have to sit there for 4 hours and whatever project is calling me, then I can write on that project. I think that maybe needs to be my new goal. Like if it's a time goal rather than because right now I'm trying to write 1 page a day, which I haven't been doing. Ugh. But if I give myself like for now just 1 hour a day to write and then build it up to 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. The War of Art is an excellent book. Ooh, I'm going to show you that one. So, anybody that wants to be a writer or wants to have any kind of creative habit, this is excellent. A couple other good books for establishing a creative habit in your life are The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron and Twyla Tharp wrote a book called the Creative Habit. Okay, so those two books are excellent. They have strong feminine energy, meaning, well, like Twyla, she doesn't mess around, but the whole, they're very much, I don't know, they are what they are. I mean, I like them, but they didn't inspire me quite as much as The War of Art. I love The War of Art because he doesn't beat around the bush and he's very funny. And it's like a big kick in the pants and it's a very quick read. It's a very quick listen. If you listen to it on an audiobook, you can get it at Libro FM or Audible. Let me see if I can read something. He talks a lot about resistance and how resistance is basically the big thing that stands in our way from anything we want to do. And I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? Because resisting is whatever's working against us, right? But he calls it resistance with a capital R. And um, let's see. That's a good one. Let me see what I'll read something to you. Let's see if I can find something funny. My mom was the one that found this book and sent it or told me about it. And then I ordered it. Let's see. It's a print on demand book. So I ordered it on February 2nd, 2015. That's what's cool about print on demand. It tells you exactly when they printed it. But the copyright on this, it was written in 2002. I didn't realize it had been around for so long. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna find a little section. I do write in my books often, especially nonfiction books. I will write with a pencil in the margins. Okay. Oh, let's see. Resistance, resistance and isolation, part 2. Wait, let's see. Oh, first I'll read Resistance and Isolation. Sometimes we balk at embarking on an enterprise because we're afraid of being alone. We feel comfortable with the tribe around us. It makes us nervous going off into the woods on our own. Here's the trick. We're never alone. As soon as we step outside the campfire glow, our muse lights on our shoulder like a butterfly. The act of courage calls forth infallibly that deeper part of ourselves that supports and sustains us. That's cool. Have you ever seen interviews with young John Lennon or Bob Dylan when the reporter asks about their personal selves? The boys deflect these queries with withering sarcasms. Why? Because Lennon and Dylan know that the part of them that writes the song is not them, not the personal self that is of such surpassing fascination to their boneheaded interrogators. Lennon and Dylan also know that the part of themselves that does the writing is too sacred, too precious, too fragile to be redacted into sound bites for the titillation of would-be idolaters who are themselves caught up in their own resistance. So they put them on and blow them off. It is commonplace among artists and children at play that they're not aware of time or solitude while they're chasing their vision. The hours fly. The sculptress and the tea chiming tyke both look up, blinking when mom calls supper time. So he's talking about being in flow and being so tapped into what you're doing that you lose track of all time. Friends sometimes ask, don't you get lonely sitting by yourself all day? At first, it seems odd to hear myself answer no. Then I realized that I was not alone. I was with the book. I was in the book. I was with the characters. I was with myself, with a capital S. Not only do I feel alone with my characters, they are more vivid and interesting to me than the people in my real life. If you think about it, the case can't be otherwise. In order for a book or any project or enterprise to hold our attention for the length of time it takes to unfold itself, it has to plug into some internal perplexity of or passion that is of paramount importance to us. The problem becomes the theme of our work, even if we can't at the start understand or articulate it. As the characters arise, each embodies infallibly an aspect of that dilemma, that perplexity. These characters might not be interesting to anyone else, but they're absolutely fascinating to us. They are us, meaner, smarter, sexier versions of ourselves. It's fun to be with them because they're wrestling with the same issue that has its hooks into us. They're our soulmates, our lovers, our best friends, even the villains, especially the villains. Even in a book like this, which has no characters, I don't feel alone because I'm imagining the reader, whom I conjure as an aspiring artist, much like my own younger, less grizzled self, to whom I hope to impart a little starch and inspiration and prime, a little with some hard knocks wisdom and a few tricks of the trade. This book is so good, and it's one that I like to read over and over again, but I often don't. Anyway, for him, if 4 hours of writing time is good enough for him, it's good enough for me. And that's something I can work up to. I mean, obviously, right now we're in the middle of a Smallville marathon, so we don't really have the time for 4 hours for writing. He would probably beg to differ, and we could watch Smallville after. But by the way, this weekend we will be finishing Smallville. And I'm so sad and I'm so happy. The 10th season is my favorite because it's just him putting the final pieces together to become Superman, and I adore it. I adore the show so much. And it just for me, it just keeps getting better and better. There are really good seasons in the middle, like 3 and 5 and 4 even. And then there's some, there's a little bit of mushy middle, but it's all just sort of truncated with these little blips of Lois being with Clark, and it makes me very, very, very happy. And yeah, and actually if you want to watch it, it's on Hulu. And they actually a couple of the main actors get together and they're having a rewatch podcast called Talkville. I can put a link to it in the description. And anyway, if you haven't seen Smallville yet, or if you've seen it and you need a rewatch, I highly recommend it. It's brought us a lot of joy and it just makes me all bubbly inside. And when we're done, we'll have probably a lot more time in the afternoon after work is done to do my writing and create. Okay. And to that point, also, the other thing is sometimes my characters don't come quite so clearly, and I have to really search through the silt to kind of see them and find them. So it helps, if I'm feeling lonely or alone, somebody put it into these words. They write with their friends unseen. So some of those friends are the characters that you're writing, and some of those friends are just your guides, your muse, and you know, I will sometimes um like light a candle. Speaking of which, I did actually light some candles for Halloween today. So happy Halloween. I don't think you could see it because my head's in the way. But when sometimes what I'll do is not in a seancey way, more like a Chandler proposing to Monica or Monica proposing to Chandler sort of way. I will light some candles around the room and then or just nearby, just as kind of an invitation. Sometimes I know this sounds here's the thing. I was raised in a religion, and so I've I was taught to balk at things that were like symbolic or ritualistic, and yet then somebody pointed out to me that my whole religion was ritualistic, and lots of religions are ritualistic. So rituals, I think, are a way for humans to kind of put their focus on something. And I don't think a ritual has to be done any particular way. It's just the way that works for you. So for me, I sometimes, if I'm feeling disconnected from the characters I'm trying to write or just from my own creativity, I will sometimes light a candle because I feel like, in a way, that invites something. There's something magical about fire. There's something magical about it's just, I don't know, it's primal to have fire, have a flame going. So, you know, please be careful. Use all of your best your best practices for burning an open flame, of course. Like, don't do it near a curtain, obviously. But when I don't know, when I burn a candle, it sometimes like it helps me to kind of focus. And then sometimes I will also put out water and then I will open the window just a little crack for air to come in, and then I'll put down like some sort of a stone or a crystal or something so that it's earth, fire, wind, and water. Just a little thing I do. You can do whatever you want, but it's just sometimes my intuition is like, "Why don't you try this?" So I'm like, "Okay, why not?" But then when I do that, then what I'm doing is I'm putting out the invitation for friends unseen to help me with my writing and, the so that I can have the inspiration I need. Now, some people don't believe in all that, but I'm guessing that if you're here on this podcast with me, you might believe in stuff like that. So tell me what you do. How do you tap into your creativity in a more meaningful and um, intentional way? Like, do you have any practices that you do? Okay, I am going to get right into the tarot reading. Once again, we are using these adorable Over the Garden Wall. There's Wirt and Jason Funderburger, maybe? Yeah, and Jason Funderburger. We're using all of these from Over the Garden Wall today. And it's just a perfect little Halloween treat for you. So I'm going to ask today, I think today the questions for me and for anyone who has creative projects, they want to create something, but resistance is holding them back. So I'm going to ask in a sort of please show me statement. Please show me whatever is best for me regarding the next thing I want to create and how to handle resistance around it. All right. That's at the 20-minute mark. So I will put that down in the description below. So if you ever want to watch these but kind of skip over the beginning part, I don't blame you. If you want to get right to the tarot reading, be my guest, and I will put that down there. Okay. So again, I'm going to say that. Please show me whatever's best for me regarding the creative project I'm working on next and the resistance around it and how to overcome it. Also, I'm working on finding my best voice. The great thing about these 30 days, this little incubator of time, is that I'm just doing this thing. I'm just reading to you as if you're already there, as if you're already hearing me. And so if you get this, if you tune into this on a day that's several months or even several years from October 31st, 2025, that is okay. Everything's all happening all at once. We live in one big eternal now, so it still applies to you. If your inspiration has led you here today, then this is for you. All right. Once again, please show me whatever's in my highest good concerning the creative thing I'm working on and how to overcome the resistance around it. Okay. So I split the deck and we have 7 of Wands. That's for present moment. It's some weird little kitty thing, like talking kitty, an anthropomorphic kitty in Over the Garden Wall. And then we have King of Axes. I don't know what axes are. Maybe they're wands. Yeah, I think that's probably wands. We'll see. It'll show us. That's for roots. And then finally for next steps. Oh, we've got Judgment again. We pulled that one last time. That's funny. All right, Judgment. And you know what? For a clarifier, because that doesn't feel very inspiring to me just yet, we will do this one. Oh, this one is 13, which is Lorna. I think that's the death card. Perfect for Halloween. Okay, so hold on to your hats. This is what we're going to do. We're going to use the guidebook a little bit so that we have the best understanding of what we're doing. Also, I'm going to look at these. These explain what the axes are. Oh, Pentacles, Wands, Cups. Oh, axes. Okay, so wands. Oh, axes. That must be swords. Okay. They've called everything else wands, cups, and pentacles. But instead of swords, they have axes. All right. Okay. And they have very brief descriptions on here of what they mean. So we're going to go to a guidebook instead. All right. So 7 of Wands, which is very new to me. 7 of Wands. I got to really get this. Okay, here we go. 7 of Wands. Conflict arises. Again, but in the 7 of Wands, the figure fights alone. Think about a time when you felt as if you had to defend your beliefs or fight hard for something you wanted. Me against the world. And you'll understand the energy of this card. It's all about holding strong and staying on top of your game. Oh, perfect. You know what? That is totally what we were just talking about in the War of Art. Or at least I mentioned the War of Art, and the War of Art is very much 7 of Wands energy. It is standing up. He talks about it as a fight against resistance and standing up against resistance. So this is perfect. See, a lot of times I mean, sometimes you think you're reading into it, and then other times it's like, no, that really does apply to this moment. So that's present moment. That's what we were just looking at. The roots of it, we've got King of Swords, King of Axes, because they don't have swords in Over the Garden Wall. And what this is about is his energy tends to be intellectual and authoritative. He's often seen as a thought leader, boss, or a professional male. As a true pro, he has the experience to get the job done right. This card can indicate mastery of the mind, a logical Mr. Spock type who makes his decisions through reasoning, not emotions. Okay, so maybe the roots of you coming to this point where you're learning to overcome resistance to the creative thing that you want to do. So this is an invitation to keep going with what we were saying about in the War of Art. So it's like this book is like the rise against resistance to resistance. So you're resisting resistance. And when you are trying to create something, resistance will keep creeping up. So it's all your excuses. It's any excuse, whether it's your health, your mother, your kids, whatever. It's those are the excuses. That none of those people are bad, of course, but the resistance sometimes creeps up in a very convenient way to help us to help steer us away from the creative projects we want to work on. And so this is inviting us to look at that idea of resistance and like take it head on and push through and keep creating. And the roots of this, we could kind of say that maybe there's part of us that's like so calculating or so logical that when resistance is very logical. Like we can always come up with reasons why we shouldn't be painting or writing. We have a job to do. It doesn't pay money. Like, how could that ever pay the bills? Or what right do we have to create art? So we might be coming from a place where we felt like it was somehow illogical, not important to create our art. And so now we're stepping forward and going, yeah, but I don't want to listen to that voice anymore. So, next steps, we pulled the Judgment card, which this is I this episode is really great. They end up in this little harvest festival and they realize that it's a bunch of pumpkins, but they're all skeletons. They're all nice skeletons, by the way, but they all have pumpkins on their heads. And anyway, go watch the show. You know what? If you don't subscribe to Hulu, go ahead and just subscribe to Hulu and get yourself, go start watching Smallville and tonight watch Over the Garden Wall. You won't be sorry. Okay. And all right, so Judgment is number 20. Time to review your life and release whatever's holding you back from reaching your highest heights. The presence of Judgment card can represent a sign, a nudge from above, a strong pull towards your purpose or calling, or a cosmic wake-up call that allows you to finally see the light. Will you heed the call? If you do, you can look forward to enlightenment, renewal, or a happy ending that paves the way for a new beginning. Shed the old life, rise and shine. Okay. So, in that sense, let's look at these all together. So, we're going to put this here, and this here for you. So, in this present moment, we're going to work hard at resisting resistance. And basically, that means, to summarize the book, War of Art, like, don't let anything get in your way. If you're not, if you've carved out time for writing or for painting or for writing music or for whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that you feel needs to come through you. Like, I know that sounds a little bit cosmic or maybe a little bit too, I don't know, sentimental or something. If it feels, if we think, oh, who am I? This is no big deal. This thing that I'm doing is not that big of a deal. But maybe it is. Maybe it is just because it makes you more of who you are, whether it serves the world or not. But you know what? Let go of it's the invitation to fight through that resistance and just sit down and create or stand up and create or however it needs to happen for you to bring that thing into the world. And don't worry about resistance can also come in the other form of not just excuses, but a voice that tells you that whatever you're making has to be perfect or grandiose because the editor that can be resistance too and it can stop you from creating. So then um and then like okay, so let go of the guy that's telling you what you're doing is not helpful and then move forward in what did she say? I don't even remember. I just remember it seemed applicable. Yeah, it's a wake-up call to move forward in whatever you're meant meant to do. Okay, now, but I did do a clarifying card. I pulled Lorna. She's the death card. She's spooky. In the movie, let's see, 13. Okay. First rule of tarot, the way I read it, is don't freak out about the death card. The death card could just mean it's time to let go. Like death is a part of life. We have to accept that. We're all going to die. And when we think that death is some weird, strange thing, it's it's painful. It's part of life and it's going to come and but part of life is the grieving process and everything. So it's all part of the deal. And but just because we're talking about death doesn't mean it's necessarily a final death in a person's life, let's say. Fall right now with the leaves dying, with the leaves falling, that's a kind of death. So sometimes the death card simply just means it's time to let go of something that you've been carrying around for a long time. Or let the old version of you die so that the new version can be reborn. So as that relates to creativity and what you're doing, let's see. Yeah. As that relates to creativity, I think I was holding them backwards for you because I was looking in the mirror thing. Anyway, maybe this death card is an invitation for you to let go of the old self that was hanging on to old excuses for why you couldn't create or why the stuff that you were creating wasn't good enough or why, I don't know, why you shouldn't be doing your own YouTube channel because of, you have a whole list of reasons why it's not going to work. Maybe the death card is your invitation to truly release that old version of yourself that was holding you back from really stepping forward and doing what you're meant to do. So that is our reading for today. I hope you all have a wonderful and happy, safe Halloween. And I hope you give yourself a break and let yourself eat lots of candy this week. And I will see you on Monday.